All right. Okay, we are live. I'm so situated. All right. Let's see. You can wait a couple minutes and let people flow on in. But I'm so excited to talk about this because I'm so interested. I'm so scary. So I have so many questions. But because I noticed a lot, of course I see your page, but then I noticed a lot of other, I follow other pages even though I don't have kids. I follow a lot of other pages too, and a lot of millennial moms are going back to home births and natural births and stuff like that, even outside of the issues that Black women and women of color have to go through,
Mm-hmm.
like in
It's
hospitals.
definitely, I feel like it's coming back to like the way it used to be. Like people are really
Mhm.
starting to wake up to, the hospitals and a lot of different things that we weren't aware of and that our parents weren't aware of, for sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, well, we is a few people in here already. Hi, hey, y'all. So, let me see. This is the first comment. She was already in here. She said, "I plan on being safe as possible, having my baby at home, and staying out of hospitals that neglect Black women." Y- yes, and so,
Right.
hi, and so. Yeah, so I mean, and this was a big topic of discussion in YouTube, maybe sort of the middle to beginning of 2020, when I think it was a big YouTuber who died, I think sometime in 2020, early 2020, and she was pregnant, and of course she I didn't really subscribe to her channel, but everybody was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was documenting her pregnancy because I think they had a couple's YouTube channel. And then she died, and everybody was shocked. And
Yeah.
of course, it happened to Beyonce, it happened to Serena. So it's not just regular women, it's
Mm-hmm.
Black across the board. So
Right.
yeah, and so I have no idea what doulas do. I mean, I have some idea, but the process and stuff like that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Angel. I'm the Divine Doula. And I'm in the Greenville, North Carolina area. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I started my business as a doula about a couple months ago. But I decided to be a doula after I had my daughter at home, unassisted, just me and my husband. And after that experience, I really just wanted to, help other women experience the same beautiful experience that I had. And that's how I got here.
That is so crazy. When you said it so casually too. You said you were unassisted. It was just it was just y'all two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That is,
we
oh
we had we hired a doula, but she was pregnant at the time, and she had a doctor's appointment because and she had complications with her pregnancy, so she had one of those doctor appointments you couldn't just reschedule. So she
okay.
actually left thinking that I had more time, and in the time that she was gone, that's when the baby came. So
Okay.
yeah, it was unassisted,
Okay.
but we did have a doula.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So let me see some of the stuff that I wrote down. So I mean, I didn't really want to get into infant mortality. We already know what it is. People don't take our complaints seriously. People don't take our pain seriously, and on regular appointments, and much less pregnancy, where it's not just you, it's you have to look out for your baby too. So
Right.
what made you decide to go the natural route?
Well, my whole life was the natural route before I even got pregnant. I went vegan about 4 years ago. I stopped using a lot of different products, started looking into more natural products. Just, everything about my life was natural. And I had already been looking into natural birth. I have a daughter that's 13. But I always said if I did have another baby that I was going to do this and that. But it's one thing to talk it. But then when I actually got pregnant, I'm like, wow, this is real. So I just feel like when you start really looking into the statistics, like you were talking about, and you start looking into the issues that other children have that were viewed as normal, like asthma, eczema,
Yeah.
colds, runny nose, and all that stuff. We've been taught to think that that's all normal, natural, occurring things, and in some cases it is, but a lot of times it's things that we have done that cause, those are the symptoms of an issue that we have created, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's what made me want to do like all natural. I wanted to just try something different and see, how her life would be, from conception to
Mhm.
watching her grow up, completely natural, completely different than all other children, and just see, like, why not? Like, I just felt like it would be something beautiful.
And it was different, like, you could tell, like, it was a noticeable change in, like, the from your first baby to, like,
Oh yeah.
her, like,
Oh yeah. The
which is crazy.
Yeah,
It's
it was night and day. Actually, like, it was really night and day. As far as she's 2, she's about to turn 2 February 7th, so she's about to turn 2 now. She's only been sick one time, if that, and that was only for a couple days. She never had any kind of skin issues. Never, no, her nose is never running. She doesn't have any
mhm.
ear infections. Where the first one, um, she had chronic ear infections, and she was always sick. And they will always give you like the amoxicillin and all the different,
Mhm.
things. And with her, I wasn't vegan. I did everything that the doctors told me to. I got the epidural, I got the Pitocin, I got the vaccines, I got everything. And you can just see the difference in everything about them.
Yeah. And see,
Mm.
that's another thing that was, like, kinda nerve-wracking to me is, like, the level of drugs and stuff, and even, like, the, epidural and stuff, like, they have to put that in your spine.
Hmm.
That's, like, so dangerous. I just have a
Very.
low tolerance for pain, so it's like, but it's like, which one is worse? Like, potentially being paralyzed if they do something wrong?
Right, right.
'Cause, like, and then, like, one of my friends with her last child, she, like, they went because she had to have a C-section. So
Hmm.
they cut her before she was telling them, like, I can still feel it. I can still feel it, when they
Hmm.
put her on anesthesia or whatever and try to test to see if her lower half is numb. And she was saying, I can feel it. And they cut her anyway.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
like, when they had to, so it's like I'm already not trusting of doctors. So it's like nothing, but I'm also like, oh, I'm so, like, I have a low tolerance for pain, but it's like I guess I'll just, like, get over it when it's like,
Yeah, it's all mental. It's the mental state that you're in before you even, from the beginning. If you've been telling yourself the whole time, which is what I was telling myself, I don't care how much it hurts, I don't care how much what happens. I'm not getting epidural. I'm doing everything natural, and that's just what it is. Like, I've made like a decision to put
right,
her before any kind of comfort measures of my own. That was just my mind frame, and it wasn't as hard as I thought. Like, it was really easy, actually, for me, just because I had my mind set on it, and I was active during the pregnancy, moving around, yoga, walks, stuff like that. You have to be, active. You got to move around. You have to be eating a healthy diet. It doesn't have to be vegan, but it should be, more
yeah,
plant based than meat. That makes a difference. So, and really, like you said, the epidural, a lot of those interventions that they push on us, I feel like
mhm,
I feel like it's a nationwide, like, protocol of bullying and fear mongering within the hospital. I really do. I feel like they push their agendas on women to the point of, like, anything, if you even speak of anything
right,
that's natural or holistic, they automatically shut it down, and they automatically start trying to use fear techniques to tell you why you shouldn't do it. And the epidural, like you said, that's way more dangerous than anything you could possibly imagine. But it's so mainstream now. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I got an
right,
epidural. And when really I got an epidural the first time, and we should all be lucky we're still standing. But nobody really
right,
understands that. And a lot of the times, all those different interventions getting induced, the epidural, even the monitors, and that the fluids they give
the
you, all
IV,
those things,
mhm,
yeah, the IV, all those things put stress on the body. All those things, epidural is a chemical. That's like chemicals that are going into the bloodstream, and then they'll give you the epidural, and when the baby's heart rate drops, then they want to do emergency C-section, but it was the epidural that caused it. You know what I'm saying? So all those interventions put you closer and closer into getting a C-section. It's
right,
none of it is None of it is absolutely necessary. Now, a lot of women, they might have pre-existing conditions or diseases or anything. So in those cases, things might be a little different. But for the
Mhm.
average low risk pregnancy mother who doesn't have any kind of health issues, all that extra stuff is just, it's just not needed at all.
Okay. Which make a lot of sense because doctors do push a lot of stuff on you. And of course and then like one of my other friends that had a baby, I think her daughter is probably about, I think she's about to be 2 this year too. And like they rushed her into like they like pressured her. And so she had originally said that she wanted a natural birth, but she said they pressured her for so long to like induce, like they try to rush you in and rush you out. And that's why I feel like the comfort of a home birth would be a little bit better. And so I also wanted to like, because like she said the comment up here, she said, I'm scared of having children, which is how I felt too. But I totally agree with you. Like if you change what you say, that becomes true. So if I stop saying I'm
Mm-hmm.
scared, if I stop saying I have a low tolerance for pain, it's like the pain is actually natural. And what did people do before they were giving epidurals?
Right.
And that's more natural and more normal than sticking something in your spine to numb your body. It's like it's so
Right.
weird when you really think about it.
And
Um
and honestly, when they do that, you're numb to the point where you don't feel anything. Like not your legs, not pushing the baby out either. So that was the big difference between Brianna and Kimani, because with Brianna, they didn't let me move around a lot. I was in labor for 25 hours. I was confined to the bed. They were doing this and that. They offered me Pitocin, which Pitocin, they say speeds up your labor, but really it just makes the contractions more intense. So it's more unbearable. So the regular contractions that you would have got are increased by the Pitocin. And it doesn't always speed up the labor because it was just making it hurt more, but she wasn't, I wasn't dilating any faster.
okay.
And
So ask the question,
mhm.
so we should not get an epidural.
Well, I don't. That's the thing with me. I don't tell anybody what they should or should not do.
Right.
But personally, I just feel like the epidural causes more harm than good, and that just within the actual like labor process. But then later
Mhm.
on, it took years for my back to get back to kind of normal. And even sometimes, even if I make any sudden like movements, it's that sharp feeling that like that makes you
Mhm.
go like that. To this day,
Yeah.
13 years later, and I can still feel it. So and that was just with one epidural. People get epidurals every pregnancy. They have a couple children. It is
Right.
horrible to the back. Horrible.
And they
So
don't
I
mention
know I
that,
don't
of course.
no, they don't mention a lot of stuff, and I don't recommend epidurals. I feel like having the doula there is a must. The doula can help you with different birth positions, comfort measures. You can drink, there's teas that you can drink. Red raspberry leaf tea is a really good tea that you can drink throughout your whole pregnancy. It's all for toning the uterus, you know, all basically it's just a womb tea that kind of preps you for labor. And I feel like because I drank red raspberry tea my whole pregnancy, it helped the contractions be a lot less painful than they were
Okay.
the first time, for
Okay,
sure.
good to know because much like her, I was like really kind of afraid, but I try to I'm older now, so I try to get myself in the mindset, this is what women's bodies do. So
Right.
it's like it's made to do it, it's built to do it, and it's natural. Um, so let me see. So I'll stay on task. Let's see. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention? Um,
I had some notes too. Yeah.
okay.
Let's see. Well, we can talk about the different birthing options and the difference between a midwife, and a doula, because I think
Okay.
people get that confused.
Okay.
So, as you know, you can do a home birth, which is, I feel like, the best option for most people. I'm not gonna say for everybody. Being in the comfort of your own home and being surrounded by people that love you and you love, and not being pressured, because that's a big
Mhm.
part of it. when you're in that kind of pain and someone keeps telling you and keeps on, it can make you have anxiety, and your baby feels everything because the baby's inside of you. So I feel like a home birth is very relaxing, and I feel like labors actually progress more quickly at home because your body is relaxed. The baby's not going to
Okay.
rush and come to an environment where they already feel stressed. They have some, different things going on as chemically that they have no idea. That goes straight into the baby. So definitely home birth, and you can have one with a midwife and a doula, or one or the other. Now, a midwife is an actual, you know, person, a medical professional that has went to school and
Okay.
can do all the blood pressure and the checking of the cervix, if that's
Okay.
what you want to do. I didn't check my cervix at all. Um, all the medical, things that you
Yeah.
would get done during labor. So that's basically the midwife's role. But in North Carolina, midwives can't do home births, but in other
Mm,
states they can. So in North Carolina, you can see a midwife at a doctor's office. Like, you can see a midwife your whole pregnancy, but they have to meet you at the hospital. They're not allowed to do home births. So that's why, as a doula now, the clients that want to have home births, it would just be me, because doulas aren't,
right.
um, they don't have any restrictions on anything. You can
Okay.
do home births, you can do whatever you want, because you're not, but you have to make it clear. That's why I always tell people that hire me, is that I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. So I'm not going to be checking your cervix. I'm not there to deliver your baby. The doula's there to put you in a position to deliver your own baby. So when
Okay.
you decide you want to do a home birth, you need to have it already in your head. And I'm just there to assist you. And when the baby comes out, if you have a husband or a boyfriend, I'm going to put him
Mhm.
in position to catch the baby. I'm going to tell y'all what to do when the baby comes out.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not checking anything. I'm not doing any of the extensive work. So that's a misconception. Now,
Okay.
in other states, women have midwives there for the medical side of it, and then doulas there also for the comfort side of it, because the doulas part of it is really like a sisterhood, a person that
Right.
is really educated about birth, and as far as comfort techniques and emotional support. That's the main
Okay.
premise of what a doula does. So when you first find out you're pregnant, the best time is to hire a doula then, because you spend the whole 9 months with that person. You're texting, calling. They can refer you to good doctors that are open to holistic practices around, once you've been in the game a while, what
Right.
doctor is going to
Okay.
be more open. They can help you with that kind of thing. And you just bond the whole time. So by the time you get to 9 months, you guys are so familiar with each other. And some of my clients, if they're having a bad day or something happens, they'll call me. It's not just
Mhm.
like so technical, like, oh, I'm just so I only do this. It's like, I feel like I'm friends with these women, and we weren't friends before they hired me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Okay.
um, yeah. So that's basically for the home birth. And there's also another option other than the hospital. It's a birthing center,
Okay.
which
I was gonna ask about that too.
yeah. Now a birthing center is better as far as the rooms. Like, they have birthing pools. Their rooms are more like in a home setting, just the ones that I've seen. Not, they
Mhm.
have like more of like it's not a hospital type setting. So they'll have a
Okay.
room with a birth pool and a bed, and it looks more like home. And they're usually more open to holistic and natural practices there. Not all of them, but they're more open
Okay.
than the hospital. But a lot of times they don't take insurance, so you have to pay out of your pocket for a lot of the
Ooh.
birthing centers.
Ooh. Now, do they let midwives wives go there?
Yeah, you can have a midwife. Usually the birthing center has midwives, like that's part of their practice. So they usually, if you sign up with them, they're the ones working with you. And if you
Okay.
want to bring your doula in, that's something that you can do too.
Okay. Okay.
And then, then we all know you can go to the hospital, which you can have a natural birth in the hospital. You can decline all medicine, and you can just say you want to, do it natural. But the issue comes in, like you said, with your friend. They just keep on and keep on, and they want
Nagging
you so
you.
bad to do it their way, that, in a vulnerable state, and especially without the knowledge, you have to really, I learned that you have to really be able to combat them with knowledge and facts and know what you're talking about. Like,
Right.
and that's when they step down a little bit. Cause even when I was in there, cause we brought Kimani there, I think she was born around 9 a.m. 5 o'clock, around 5 o'clock, we brought her to the hospital just to get her checked out, just because it was something new. I wasn't a doctor, so I wanted to make sure she was okay. And
Mhm.
from the time we got there, even though we didn't have her there, we did her, we had the birth at home, they still wanted us to cut the cord, and they still pushed on their agenda on us. And it was a whole problem. Like, we had to really put our foot down, and it was exhausting. I had just given birth. It's
Right.
exhausting.
And they
Yeah.
want to argue about their policy or whatever.
Right. And really, none of those policies apply to you. Like, that might be their policy, but that you can't,
It's a
they
choice. It's
can't force
optional.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we lose
So,
fat sight of,
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm
I was just saying, we lose sight of the fact that they're providing us a service. We're paying for a service and they're providing it, but we've been socialized to think that they have like some kind of authority over us, and it's
right.
really it's really
Right.
not the case.
Right. So you can see the question, right? Because I
Yeah,
was
if
going
you're
to
having
ask
a
that
baby at
too.
home, birthday or social security. Okay, so for you can go. Well, you have a witness there, or you like time stamp a picture like for proof of birth, and you go to the vital statistics and you just apply for a birth certificate. And when you apply for the birth certificate, the social and everything comes with it. When you do it that way. Now, when we went to the hospital, they provided all that for you. So if you go to the hospital after to get the baby checked out, they'll do the birth certificate and the social security number for you. But if you don't want to go to the hospital, which is perfect, you're perfect, perfectly fine. If you feel that the baby is okay and you don't feel the need to go there, then you can go to the records, vital statistics, and do it that way. It's just a
Okay.
matter of paperwork. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know because I was going to ask that. So, I had another question too. So, if you like when you did your birth at home, you didn't have the pool and all of that kind of stuff.
No,
'Cause I was
because
wondering if that like because I always see people in a pool in their living room or whatever, and I'm like, so do you have to? I mean, I guess it's fluids and stuff coming out of you, but I was wondering if like what else would you do if you don't want to find a pool to sit in like the middle of your house?
right, that's people who kind of wanted a water birth, and they
Okay,
they already bought the birthing pool, which the birthing pool itself isn't. It could be costly depending on how large you get it, but the problem with that is filling it up with water and keeping the water warm, and then also knowing when to get in, because you don't want to get in too early because sometimes the water stalls labor. So they say you should get in after 6 centimeters. So
mm,
it just depends. So that's why you see the pools, because that's like the new trendy thing, is like the water birth. But my home birth wasn't actually planned. We did plan to go to the hospital, so that's why I always, like, I understand when women say they were scared, because I wasn't planning on doing it at home either. I was like, no, I think I should go to the hospital, and that was the plan. But once I went into labor, I just didn't want to leave my home. Like, I just couldn't picture myself getting dressed and getting in the car and going. So we never called the doctor, and we kind of just like let it flow. Like, just see, if I felt like if anything in my head told me something was wrong, then we would have
right.
went. But I just felt so, yeah, I just felt so calm and at peace with myself, that I just kind of
Mhm.
wrote it out. But you don't need well, you need towels. We had that stuff, like just regular stuff. And I actually had her in the bathroom. So we had like the what did we get, like we had liners for the tub, because you have to, once your water breaks, you don't have that water around the baby for protection, so you have to be
Okay.
careful, with for infection. So you don't want to get in like a dirty bathtub, or
Okay.
even
Yeah.
just anything. You got to be careful with that. So we had the liners for the bathtub, just in case I wanted to labor in the tub, because if you are less than 6 centimeters, the hospital is going to send you back home anyway. They won't admit you um, until you're 6 centimeters or more, or if your water broke. So if your water breaks and you're 2 centimeters, they'll keep you. But if it hasn't broken yet, they'll send you back home. So I was trying to labor at home as long as I could, and the plan was to go there at the last minute. So really, I would say you need, gloves, you need towels, lots of them, stuff for the baby. As far as we did a lotus birth where you keep the placenta attached to the baby until it falls off naturally. So we had the herbs there and the salt for the for the placenta, and that was it really. But people who
Okay.
have an actual plan for it, they can get the birthing pool and different things like that.
Okay, got you. So you just never didn't
Mm,
really plan on doing it at home. It just worked out that way, kinda.
right.
Okay. And see, that's what
Hmm.
I wanna do, like, because I know that there's a lot of health benefits to leaving not cutting the umbilical cord as soon as
Hmm.
they come out, and I also read or heard on a video or something that they will put a stink about it if you, like, try to
Oh yeah.
keep it. So, did you keep yours or did you
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, how
We kept
long did
it.
not to be all in your business, but
No, you're
how long
good. You're good.
for it to naturally come apart on its own?
So for her, it was only 2.5 days. It was super quick. It went from a cord, like it was like purplish. You can see it was a lot of
Mhm.
blood in there. And then it went white. And then it just would dry and dry more. And then by the second day, it looked like a twig. It was night and day, so it just, it came off
Okay.
pretty quickly. But I'm in a Lotus birth group, and I'm seeing from like the women, it can take up to 5 days. But I haven't seen any women in that group past 5 days. Where when you actually cut it, the little snub that they leave sometimes takes up to 10 days to come off. So I feel like the Lotus
Okay.
birth is actually a faster process. Yes, they make a big deal about it. The placenta is just beautiful. It has so many things. And the biggest thing that they're after is the stem cells. Because we know stem cells can become any cell in the body. And they use those placentas for research and,
Mhm.
medicines and healing
Isn't
other
yeah.
people. Yeah. So they make a big deal about it, and they want to cut it as fast as they can to harvest those stem cells. So that's why most of the time, once the baby comes out, the mother hasn't even delivered the placenta before they cut it.
Right.
It's like instant. But what they don't tell you, and this is kind of like, it makes me wonder, because I'm like, I'm self-taught, and I'm realizing all these things. So it makes me wonder about like the nurses and the doctors that are there. Like, are you just not aware of these things, or do you know, but you're just kind of following the agenda? Because
Right.
they say most times babies, they lose up to 10% of their weight after their birth weight. So they're born one weight, and then within a few hours or the next day you weigh them again and they've lost weight. But we know that the placenta, 30% or more of the baby's blood supply is still in the placenta. So that needs to transfer back to the baby. And
Mm.
when you cut it, you're cutting off the baby's access to the stem cells, the minerals, the nutrients, and the blood. So we know when we go donate blood, they're only taking 8%. How many times have you heard people woozy or passed out after donating blood? And that's only 80%. Imagine being cut off from 30% of your blood supply.
Ooh,
Right.
that's
So
a
it's a big deal. Right. So that's why babies lose weight. That's why you see a lot of issues with their breathing, and because it's oxygen, like they're cut off from their oxygen. It could causes jaundice sometimes because they're not able to get those stem cells, which is not the only reason why you get, but it's part, it could be potentially because Kimani had jaundice, but she still was a lotus birth. So it's not, exact science, but like I'm saying, like, it's just, and as far as you wanting to keep it, even after they cut it, they have a problem with that too. So, that's like when I told you we went to the hospital, they were trying to talk us into cutting the cord. They were saying that it was dead
that's what I was
flesh.
gonna say. So that means she was still attached to you when you went
Yeah.
to the hospital.
No, I delivered the placenta, so she was out and the placenta was out. They were
Oh, okay, okay.
connected. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
We
the
didn't.
placenta is connected to her.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Because did the
yeah,
placenta
yeah.
come
So,
out shortly after you birthed the child?
so the baby comes out first, and then you kind of when the baby comes out, the first thing you should do is put them on your chest and try to latch them right off the bat. And
Okay.
when the baby connects to the breast, it stimulates the uterus and it allows the placenta to detach from, and you deliver the placenta. And it really, as soon as she came out, I put her right on my breast, and you can literally feel, like, as she suckles, you can feel your uterus doing something. Like, it hurts for a while. You can tell that there's a correlation between that. So I
Okay.
delivered the placenta, and then we kept her connected to the placenta when we brought it to the hospital. But by that time, we had put it in the bowl, drained it, because sometimes most times it's bleeding still. You'll put it in the bowl. You'll see kind of the bowl fill up with blood. You drain it, and then keep draining it until it doesn't fill up as much. And then that's when we put it in like it was like a drawstring type of bag. We put
Mm-hmm.
the sea salt, pink Himalayan sea salt. We put the herbs and the rose petals over it, and then we drawstring the bag, and we just kept it near her. If we were holding her, then it was on top. If she was on the car seat, we put it just really close to her so that way it wouldn't snag.
And so
So
is
when
that
we got to
something
the
you help
hospital,
the moms with?
yeah. So that was my second thing I came out with. So now I am offering a lotus birth blend, because I realized a lot of women don't really know where to even get the herbs or what to do. So I do offer a lotus birth blend, and I do offer a yoni steam for after birth, to help
Mm-hmm.
with healing and getting everything to come down that's up there, or anything, to help prevent infections. It's just good to kind of steam down there. And I also do offer a herbal baby bath. So the women that I am helping, I do have those things for them.
Okay. Okay. Somebody had a question up here.
Do you
Oh.
have to go to the hospital to circumcise? Okay, so with the whole circumcision, the midwife, I don't think the midwife performs that. I think they have a specialist, or someone that actually handles the circumcision. I'm not completely sure, but I think that's how it is. I don't think the midwives actually do that. And the circumcision is a personal choice. From my research on that, there's no medical reason why boys should be circumcised. It's just something that we adopted, during the course of the involvement of Western medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really actually traumatizing to the baby. And they actually, if you want to take it a step further, they actually use the foreskins for cosmetics. Like, it's like a stay young serum. If you type in Sandra Bullock and her interview on Ellen, she says, like, she's like laughing and ha ha, but she says that they use little boys' foreskins as beauty. That's why she looks so young. So when I heard that, I'm like, yeah, that's
That
not
like it's
that's
a
not.
joke.
Yeah, they were joking. Everyone in the audience was joking, but I didn't find it funny at all. So I don't advocate for circumcision. And also, as far as like the penis itself, those are glands, and those are things that are needed. When you're cutting that off, you're cutting off a part of him that he needs. And when they grow up, they say men that are uncircumcised have a more in-depth and a more enhanced sexual experience than men who are circumcised. But that's off topic. But
Yeah, I heard
that
that
took
too.
it a little.
No,
It took it a little.
but I heard that too. I heard that too. I think it's like
Yeah.
probably
So
between religion and just doing what is normal. A lot of people in the West adopted to like just getting baby boys circumcised and really
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
why.
Because if you go towards the east, like Africa, India, China, those men aren't circumcised. It's
Mm-mm.
in America that everyone is circumcised. So yeah, I definitely do not advocate for that. But it's a personal choice, because a lot of people, like, they'll feel you. They'll be like, okay, they're all with the natural, but then you start talking about not circumcising that boy. That's when they're like, oh, I don't know about that, and so it's all that's why I say I never tell anybody what they should do. I just give the knowledge and information, because that's what it's about, being
Right.
informed. You need to know because you can't make a proper decision unless you knew both sides. And I feel like with the
Right.
hospitals and the doctors, they don't never give you both sides. They don't never tell you, well, you could do this or you could do that. They just push their way on you, and then that's it. You're not making an informed decision. You're kind of just going with the flow with what you're being told. So that's what I'm all about. It's just sharing information.
And then if they get older and they really want to be circumcised, if they feel some kind of way about it, then they can make that choice for
Then they
themselves.
can make that decision. And you know what's so crazy? I've seen in groups where people think that it's insensitive to get little girls' ears pierced, that should be a decision that they make. I've seen that argument before, and I'm like, wow, we can push that argument about an ear piercing,
Yeah.
but we're not pushing that argument about a circumcision. Where the ear piercing, you can close that. If she got a problem, she can take them earrings out and it will close back up. But he's not getting that back.
Nope. Especially if they don't
Yeah.
put it in
So
cosmetics to try to make white ladies' faces not wrinkle. So it's not like I
right.
don't even have my ears pierced. Like my parents never got them, and I really don't think about it.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
and I would rather them, at least they would have the choice and to get circumcised. I don't know if girls tell them they don't like it to get circumcised, if
Right.
that's their choice and they can do it if they want, but I didn't take the choice away from them.
Right.
So I mean, I know a lot of us it's aesthetic, but anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
right. Right.
not carried away. But yeah, so but it still like goes into play with everything else. Like the doctors have a certain way of doing it. And like you said, I don't even necessarily think is that the doctors don't know. I think is that they are trained in medical school a certain way. And they
Yeah.
probably still get
Mm-hmm.
fired if they tell women the truth. So
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
that's why. So do you feel like it would be like so for like women that are more high risk, whether it's their age, if they're older, or if they are have like some conditions and stuff like that, I don't know, diabetes or whatever, I forgot the word that it's called. But do you feel like it's still safe for them or for it to do home births, or should they do it in the hospital and just be natural, or so that their vitals are being watched and stuff like that?
Right. Yeah. That's what I was saying earlier. Like if you have high blood pressure or preeclampsia, some people get high blood pressure because of pregnancy.
Mhm.
Those you should always consult a doctor. You know, I don't think that if you already have issues ahead of time, you should be trying anything. You know, um, now I feel like changing your lifestyle as far as for high blood pressure, diabetes, those are all things that could be changed through diet. You know, but if you're already pregnant, that's not the time to worry about that. So yeah, I don't suggest if you're considered high risk, I
Mhm.
don't suggest that you try it. Or if you do, if you don't live in North Carolina and you're somewhere else and you want to have a midwife who's a medical professional and do a home birth with her at home, then that's something different.
Right.
But yeah, and I feel like just because you go to the hospital, you know, you can still, because if you think about it, if you already have a condition, getting Pitocin and epidurals and all that stuff doesn't sound like it's going to help the condition any during labor. You're
No.
probably better off not doing any of that, you know, but they'll know you have an issue and still like, you know, give you the stuff anyway and kind of just be like, and then I feel like when stuff does go wrong, they'll never say that it was that. So they'll never be like, oh, it was the epidural. They'll tell you some other, or they'll always beat around, but they'll never blame their interventions for the problem unless, you know, they're absolutely, you know, forced to where there's no, you know, no other, their back is up against it and they have to say, okay, yeah. But they're not going to just volunteer that up. So yeah, no, I definitely suggest that people, you know, consult with their doctor. I definitely think that people who are even thinking about getting pregnant or have any kind of issues like that, you need to be
Mhm.
trying to work on your lifestyle, exercising more, watching your diet, you know, eating more plant-based, drinking more herbs. You know, we need to get into herbal teas. They're full of vitamins, minerals. You can, you know,
Mhm.
you can really change your lifestyle. You can change your whole life by just consuming herbal teas every day. You know, you would be surprised, you know, how big of a difference they make. So yeah,
Okay.
definitely. That's how I feel about that.
Okay. Let's see. So how you did mention before kind of like the process, but how often do you, because you say you talk to your clients and stuff pretty regularly, how often do you like meet with, do you go to like appointments or only certain appointments, or do, especially like kind of like pricing? So I imagine doulas aren't covered by insurance. So
No.
how, what is the like average, you don't have to go into your specific pricing, but like what's the average pricing of, and is it like tiers, whether if I want, so somebody like me who's scary, like I would want somebody there a little bit more and I would be willing to pay the money to like for my own peace of
Right.
mind. So I wanted to kind of like see how that worked.
So every doula sets their own price based on how they, how they feel that they should price it. But I would say when I looked up the average price, just Googling it, trying to
Mhm.
figure out my price, I seen anywhere from $900 to $1,500 for the whole pregnancy, and that's for the whole 9 months plus the birth, and then they usually work with you 2 weeks postpartum. Each doula offers something different. Some come to the house, help you with breastfeeding, they might help you clean, they may cook a few meals, they may help watch the baby while you nap. It looks different for every person, and each
Okay.
mother, it's the situation's going to be different, because like one client may be a single mother, so you may need to go, like I go to appointments sometimes with her, or or if she wants to talk about whatever, I'll
Right.
talk to her, and we'll bond over that. But then my married clients, I don't have to really go to the appointments. The
Right.
husbands are at those
Excellent. Yeah.
appointments, and she may need something different from me. Uh, so yeah, the lady that I trained, because I've done a few trainings, but the lady that I trained under, she was charging 950 for the whole
Okay.
experience. But she didn't attend home births by herself. She only attended home births with midwives. So that was her thing. So she didn't do what's called free birth. She didn't do free births, and that was
Okay.
still her price. So she was going to the hospital, because I do work with women who are going to the hospital. And matter of fact, when we do a consultation and we get into your health, and we talk about everything, during the consultation, just your whole
Mhm.
life, if you had other children, how that went, any kind of thing. Based on that, I can let you know if I think home birth is for you. Because at the end of the day, if it's only going to
Okay.
be me, I have to be completely comfortable, and I have to feel like you're a good candidate for me to put myself
Right.
out there to kind of do it
So
with you.
so nobody
So
can blame you if something goes wrong, I
yeah, well,
guess.
you have you sign, you would sign a contract. I have a contract
Right.
that people sign, understanding what my role is, and understanding that what
Liability.
basically,
Yeah.
if anything does go wrong, we already have a plan. We're going straight to hospital. We have, things in place. But yeah, it does protect you. And that's
Mm.
why I also look at the mindset of the mother, because if she's not all in, if she hasn't been already doing her own research, if she's not like already got her mind made up that she's going to do home birth, then she's more likely to run into issues or get scared, or you know what I mean? And it's just the
Mhm.
mindset has to be there. So if I feel
So
like if your mindset is not,
yeah, which makes sense. Which makes sense.
yeah,
Like if you,
hmm,
so if somebody wanted to do a hospital, if they wanted to go to the hospital, but they wanted you there, you would still come to the hospital and like kind of be an advocate for them, I guess, especially if
yeah,
you have more knowledge of the technical terms and facts and stuff that you can kind of put the doctors in their place, so to speak, so that they know that you know what you're talking about. Like,
right. That's a really good question, because yes, I do hospital births. I feel like women who want to go to the hospital, you need to have a doula there, period. Like, I just feel like, because like you said, we know, but the thing is with that is that as a doula, you cannot speak to the doctors on behalf of the client. You can only
mm,
speak to the client. So if they're in there and they're telling her this and that, I can't just be like, oh no, no, I can't do anything. I
Right.
have to sit back and wait. And then she can talk to me in front of them. So she can be like, well, what do you think? And I can tell her what I think. Or she can ask them to leave the room to consult with me. And then they come back and she can tell them. But I can't talk for her. And
Okay.
a lot of times when they know that you have a doula, like they already know, because doula, the whole premise around a doula is natural. So that if you telling them you have a doula coming, they already know, okay, they have someone there that kind of knows, and they kind of frown upon it, as far
I
as like
think they
I've
do.
heard, yeah, I've heard of like really harsh treatment to doulas in the hospital. I haven't experienced it. I hope I don't. But as far as like just like kind of looking over you, or just kind of just
Yeah.
trying to like push you to the side, But like you said, every hospital is different. Not there's places that people have had wonderful experience. They're thanking the doctors and the nurses. The nurses were super supportive. So it's not everybody, but it's just rare.
Right. So I guess it's important to do your research too about your doctor and who your, I guess, OBGYN or whatever is before you go. Because I
Right.
mean, I know.
That's why I said a doula can help you pick that from the very beginning. Because whoever you have your
Yeah, you
prenatal
did
care
say
with
that.
is usually who's going to meet you at the hospital. Yeah, so it's good to make a good, choice right from the beginning. So that way you kind of know, and also everybody should submit a birth plan. They have you can go on Google, type in birth plan. They have the ones where it has like a questionnaire. You answer all the
Mhm.
questions, and at the end, it prints you out a nice birth plan where you already know. You submit that to your provider, and you submit that to the hospital when you get into check in. So that way they kind of already know what to expect from all
Okay.
your expectations, which, not everybody gets to stick to the birth plan, but you got a better chance of getting the birth experience you want if you have a birth plan.
Okay. Which makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's all I had to say. Was there anything that we missed? Um,
Uh,
I think that was all my questions I had.
um, delayed cord clamping. That's the other option you have other than lotus birth. If you don't feel comfortable with doing the actual lotus birth where you leave with the placenta and leave it attached, you can ask for delayed cord clamping, which a lot of hospitals are more open to it, but they try to limit it to like 20 minutes. Or I feel like if you're staying at the hospital, um I feel like the baby should be attached to the placenta until discharge. So if you're staying overnight,
Okay.
all night on there, you're gonna get discharged in the morning. They cut the cord then, and you take the placenta with you. That should be the standard for that. As far as the hassle that you have to go through to be able to take the placenta with you, then that's going to be specific to the person. For the people who do get to keep their placentas, which I always say, you're not asking, you're telling them. You don't have to ask them for permission. When you put it as if I'm taking this placenta, period, then that changes to like, oh, well, what is once you kind of, you got to set the tone for it. Some people like to encapsulize or eat it. I'm not really into all that. We planted ours. We got like a flower pot, planted it with seeds, and in the
Mhm.
springtime, different stuff blooms and then it dies and it comes back, and we just keep it with us. So if you have a house that you're going to live in, you can plant it under a tree, and they say like on a spiritual level, having the placenta around the baby, like it's a spiritual connection, that the baby's just always near the placenta or near the home
Yeah.
where it's buried. So it's different
I'm into
things. I
stuff
see a
like that,
question.
so I believe it. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
What'd you
Yeah.
say?
So, I said I'm into stuff like that, so I believe it. I'll put it in the
Yeah,
plan for my baby
yeah,
nursery. So,
right.
she was how to find. No, we actually didn't discuss. So she said how to find a good doula.
Mm, that's a good question because I feel like being a doula is the new wave. A lot of women are, no, seriously, a lot of women are just slapping doula on the back of their Facebook name and running with it. Um, and really, I feel like when you, social media is the best way. You can type in, even if you do like, looking for a doula and you see people start commenting, when you start talking to people, you need to have a list of questions. Ask them how many birthdays had, what's their, views on this, that, get the questions because once you start talking to people, you can get more information and you'll just know if it's a good fit. When you meet with her, you'll feel the connection. If not, then you don't have to hire that person as a doula. So that's basically my main thing. I would say, kind of put your options out there as far as, getting people's feedback on who they could recommend. Facebook is always a good, looking for recommendations, and then kind of just use your discernment to pick the perfect person for you.
Okay, which sounds like I would definitely have my questions ready to ask, and then I guess if
And
y'all vibing,
right,
yeah.
say
Oh,
what you
you
said
can.
again.
Oh no, I was done. You can go ahead.
I was saying some doulas travel, so if you know your due date is around a certain time, most times they want you to pay for their flight to come out there and accommodations too. So it can be a little expensive. Um, but it's an option. Now, with me having a 2-year-old, it's not an option for me. I can't be flown out. I have a whole family, whole family. It would have to be everybody to come, so it doesn't work for me. But there are some traveling doulas if you find someone and they're not in your area. So that's always an option. What
Okay.
are the top 5 suggestions? Ask potential doulas. Um, what are their views on interventions, like unnatural interventions, as far as epidurals, vaccines, uh, pitocin, just inductions? Get their overall view on that, because I noticed that some, even though the term doula and the culture around it is natural, there are some doulas that kind of just still are with the Western medicine techniques, but they call themselves doulas, so they'll you know won't provide that space for you to do it natural. It's just like, okay, well, we'll get the epidural, or they don't have a natural. That's not the foundation of their practice. So if that's what you're looking for, then you need to ask them what their thoughts are on all of those things. I would ask them about their birth experiences. Have you done it before? Because I know a lot of doulas that haven't had natural births themselves, but they had traumatic births, and from that trauma, they want to help women not experience that. Which that's still a good place to come from. That's still something, passionate about it. So I don't, just because you didn't do it yourself doesn't mean that you're not qualified. But just ask them about their births. Ask them why they became a doula. What's the passion? Do you have a passion for birthing? Are you here to act, like, just empower? You know, what's your intentions behind your work? And ask them how many births they have attended, and how do they attended other home births versus hospital births. Those would be, I don't know if that was 5, but those are some main questions I would ask up front.
Okay. And she said, "Did you discuss what's in your birthing bag?" I mean, that assumes you're going somewhere. You're going to the hospital, but like if
Yeah.
you did plan to go, you just didn't end up going. So,
Yeah, the birthing bag, I would say pajamas for you, something comfortable because you don't have to wear that nightgown, that hospital nightgown. Water, snacks. That if you get hungry in hospital, of course they tell you not to eat. Which if you try to go run a marathon on an empty stomach, how far are you going to get? Not very far. So they actually tell you not to eat in the hospital because they know that sometimes you lose your ability to swallow when you get the epidural. And if you've eaten, then you have the possibility of choking to death on your food that you ate. So that's another little thing that they don't say. No one ever talks about that.
I have
But
never heard that before.
yeah, I had never heard of it until I did, and then I looked into it, and I was like, wow, because I had read this story of this woman who lost her ability to swallow, and she was like losing it in the hospital, and that's when it had came out that she didn't eat anything, so she wasn't, throwing up actual food. But I don't even want to know how it feels to not being able to be able to swallow and food coming up. It's very dangerous, and that's one of the side effects of the epidural. Um, but yeah, so I would have, light snack crackers, nothing too serious, crackers, water. You want to have change of clothes for the baby, diapers, wipes, change of clothes for you, pads, soap, uh things that you're going to need in the hospital. You don't want to use any of their stuff. So just as if you were spending the night at somebody's house, soap, toothbrush, stuff for the baby, blankets. You got to have a car seat. They won't let you leave unless you have a car seat. And they're going to follow you to the car, make sure that your car seat is strapped into the car and the baby is properly put in the car seat. And also for the car seat, off topic a little bit, but still on topic, the the chest strap goes over the chest. I see so many women with that chest strap over that baby's stomach, and there's no rib cage or anything that's just exposed. So if you get into an accident, you can cause a lot of internal damage to the organs from having that chest strap low. So you need to have it always across the baby's chest where the rib cage can protect it. So that's that.
Okay. Well, I think that was pretty much all the questions. I learned so much. It definitely even heightened my desire to like either do a home birth or a birthing center or whatever, or and definitely have a doula. That's something I always wanted to do anyway, because I want somebody who's professional, so to speak, that's there. So yeah, I think that's all the questions. So I think that's it.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
You're welcome. I haven't seen you or talked to you in so long. Time go by so fast.
Right. Like I was really happy when you hit me up about the interview. It was like because I had just did one with one of my clients. She wanted to like introduce me and she wanted to like talk to her audience about her home birth or whatever. So I
Mhm.
had done one, and then this and I just been super excited. I've been doing interviews, I've been talking, I've been spreading awareness. I just feel like it's just a great feeling to be able to, and I see like, wow, I never knew that. Wow. Like even if it's just one person that I say something
Right,
and it changes one little part can change the path of someone's whole life. And it's just a beautiful feeling, and it's just a beautiful thing to be a part of.
right.
It really
Yeah.
is.
So I think I'll be a little
You're
less
welcome.
afraid. Um, well,
What
she is in Greenville, North Carolina. So yeah, if
and
you're
I and
in,
one more thing, I don't I'm not a traveling doula, but I do offer online services where we can do the whole bonding thing. You can ask me any questions, you can call me, all that. It's just that I don't
Mhm.
attend the birth, or if I do attend the birth, I do it via video chat. And with that, it's better if you have like, like I said, your mindset and more support their husband or whoever
Mhm.
there, and I can kind of guide you guys through the video chat. I do offer that because I've realized a lot of people, they might not have a doula in their area, but they want to
Right,
work with you or they feel connected to you. I can still be that support for you. I can still give you all the information. Even if you go to the hospital, I can be right there on the phone. You can ask questions. They say something you don't understand. I'm right there. No, and you have that to go to person. It makes a huge difference because, like I said, I had a doula, and I feel like if I didn't hire her, we wouldn't have had the home birth. It was her expertise and her kind of telling me, you're fine.
mhm.
Just the fact that we had her even as an option, because as soon as we had the baby, we called her. She was over the phone. She was like trying to rush back from her doctor's appointment because she couldn't believe she missed the birth. or whatever, but she still was able to tell us, her services were valuable. So I definitely feel like everybody should have that experience.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So we learned so much. I'm so happy. So I'm gonna have to go back to this video, or we can like a little bit later sometime. Sometimes people, you have to do the same topic, maybe a year later or something to refresh or whatever.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
can do this again.
Right.
But thank you so much for being here and sharing your expertise with us. And especially during
You're
like
welcome.
the pandemic, people prefer virtual options. So that's good too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming.
Did you put my
Yes. Oh, that's
You're
what I was.
welcome.
So in the description box on YouTube, so it's live on YouTube, but it'll also go ahead and post once we're done. So your Instagram, I think
Mhm.
your Facebook you gave me, all of that information is in the description box. So they can find you
Okay.
on Instagram and on Facebook if they're on Facebook. So if they want
Yes.
to consult you or hire you or whatever for services. So, yep, y'all can find her info in the description box. All right. So, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
ladies.
much.
All right. I will see you later. Let me go ahead and close this out.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.